A letter of wishes, I imagine, just make sure that those small details that are really important to me once I pass away are delivered in the way I'd hope them to be delivered. Would I be right? This
Yes.
letter of wishes?
Yes, definitely. Example, do you want organ donation?
Good question.
Many
Yes.
people don't think about it. Now, let's say you want organ donation, you write it into the will, then tomorrow you change your mind. What, you're going to change the whole will because of that? I mean, one of my clients told me he wanted his ashes scattered over a football ground.
Over a football. Can you tell us which football ground it was?
It was Anfield.
Anfield. Shame
Yeah.
on him.
Oh, well, everyone to themselves. The point I'm trying to get to, Faisal, is that when it comes to drafting the will, certain wishes, I tell people, keep it separate in a letter of wishes template. This is a document we have. I can gladly email this to anyone.
Perfect.
But the letter wishes deal with informal requests. Example, your funeral. You know, I had a couple sitting down talking about the wills, and the husband wanted to be buried, and the wife said, "I'm going to cremate you." And they had an argument.
Wow.
They had an argument in front of me, and the husband looked at me and said, "God, we were meant to be talking about our guardianship of our children and how we want our monies to be distributed, and we can't even get the funeral arrangements in order." That's why, yes, I tell people.
So are you seriously telling me then the husband wanted to go one way, which was a funeral, and the wife disagreed and said, "I'm going to cremate you"?
Yes.
Wow.
I
I
mean-
wonder how they had dinner that night, sitting opposite each other at the table, looking at each other. Wow, that is amazing. But that happens.
It happens. That's why I'm saying, Faisal, when you are dealing with in terms of, for example, drafting a will, certain wishes, I say keep it separate in the letter wishes template. So funeral arrangements, if let's say you're sponsoring a child, you want some ongoing charity
Of course.
after you're passing away. I mean, certain things you can put into the will, but things that could change, that are more variable, tangible,
Sure.
keep in the letter wishes. Because at the end of the day, it will probably be your wife or your children or your father, your mother, your brother, your sister who's going to be dealing with your wishes. So if you have a diver's watch and you want to give it to your best friend, write it in a letter of wishes. So tomorrow, whoever the trustee or the executor is, a person reading your will, he said, "Oh, Faisal wanted to leave his diver's watch to his best friend. You know what? I'll make sure his friend gets it."
So if you were to leave all of your estate to your
No.
wife,
In the letter of wishes, we're dealing with informal requests. For something like that, you need to write that into the will.
so can a letter of wishes contradict
No.
a will?
No.
Override a will?
The will is written in stone. That is what is going to be accepted. That's why I told you these are informal requests.
Okay. So at his or her discretion, the executor can look at that and
Can
think,
Chuck this in the bin,
right,
the letter, or follow it. I mean, obviously, you're going to leave it with somebody who you know, who you trust.
yeah,
So I doubt it very much they're going to ignore your wishes.
sure.
So let's say, I mean, I'll give you an example. One of my clients told me that they want their son to go to Harvard University.
Harvard, my God.
Yeah, tell me about it. And said, "I want you to write it in the will that my sister's got to make sure my son's education is completed in Harvard University." I said, "Look, you can't force someone to do that. Where does your sister live?" She told me in Australia. I said, "How do you expect her to make sure this happens? Maybe your son doesn't want to go to Harvard University. Maybe he doesn't want to complete his education." I mean, there's so many variables, but this is your wish. Write it in a letter of wishes.
Wow.
It could be you owe money to someone. Someone owes you money. You
Sure.
write it in a letter of wishes. It could be some instructions to trustees or to the executors. Please do this. Please do that. If you need any second opinion, speak to that person. You know, these are the things you write in a letter of wishes. It's sort of like guidelines
Sure.
telling people, but it can be ignored. But the whole reason for you to write it is really to leave instructions, how you want certain things to be handled after you're passing away. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say there's a woman, a wife, having lots of jewelry, and she has 2 daughters, and she might have some handbags.
Sure.
Now, what, you're going to write everything into the will? This handbag goes to this daughter, that jewelry goes to that daughter.
Sure.
Letter of wishes.
Can you have more than one letter of wishes?
Of course you can, but I would rather you make sure you don't want to I have too much paperwork. So I have one document and write everything into it.
But I guess you change your mind in a year's time.
Update the document. The will doesn't change.
Sure.
It's the letter of wishes. So these are informal requests. I mean, I've got couples who don't even have daughters, but the wife has lots of jewelry. So she might want to leave the jewelry to her nieces.
Sure.
Letter of wishes. I mean, the best form of giving, I always say, is during the lifetime.
Of course,
So
yeah.
you call your daughters up, say, right, this is yours, and in your lifetime you do what you want to do. I think that is the best way to do it. But, you know, if it doesn't happen, you have a letter of wishes, or the mother wants to hang on to those handbags.
Until their very last minute.
Exactly, letter of wishes.
Sure. And did you say you had a template?
Yes, we have a template. It's a very detailed template. It talks about several points, but this is a editable document, so
Okay.
you can edit the document as to your liking. But like I said, get it completed, sign it if you can, want to witness it. But please make sure that the executor, somebody has the information.
Fantastic. And that's a letter of wishes for those small details that you'd like executed
Exactly.
upon your passing. Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Mohammed, for clarifying that.
My pleasure.